Welcome to MMA Huddle. It's a big week. It's a Conor week, is the best way to describe it. It's been a while since he's been back. We are here for you people to break down UFC 229. That is going to be coming up, and Will's bet will be at the end, where my man here, my brother and another mother, Will, is going to give you some tips and hints on where to throw some dollar bills if you've got any. But before we get there, please, down below, if you're watching us on YouTube, there is a subscribe button. Hit that, please. The more we have, the better the following, the more content we are looking to put out and do for you, like the special breakdowns we did for this card, which was the Conor, how Conor beats Khabib and how Khabib beats Conor, which I will actually put down in the description below, the links if you wish to watch the kind of extended version of that. Okay, so please look out for that. Will is looking out at the NFL, just to give you a heads up, because his boys, the Cardinals, are on. My Chargers are out there too at the moment, so I don't even want to think about what the score is right now. So let's just
lose.
Yeah. I know.
I thought the Cardinals.
I know they are. All right. Okay. Yeah. So that's a good start to this podcast. Will, how's your week been, bro? How are you feeling about finally, effectively 2 years, more or less? Let's wrap it up to around after 2 years. We've been Conorless, and now it's all going to begin again. That mayhem, as you know, it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to this week coming up, and then obviously getting to the fights. But this week's been horrible. I've had food poisoning, which has absolutely drained me, and I've never had anything like that in my life. So it's been rough. And then getting news about work stuff for this upcoming week, which is just kind of annoying me a little bit. But it is what it is. I mean, we had actually some really good fights last night with Cage Warriors, and there was the whole shenanigans with Bellator over here in the UK. So if you don't know, it was on obviously 3 a.m. is the main card time that we usually get stuff. I only I didn't record after 5 o'clock, so I missed out on the last 2 fights, Vanderlei Rampage and Rory against Musashi. But I think the people that stayed up to watch it, they cut off at 6 o'clock right before the main event started. And a certain Miss Peppa Pig decided to show up and shit in everybody's cereal.
It did indeed, my friend. I was going to say Peppa Pig did rock up, and if anyone doesn't know who Peppa Pig is, here you go.
I'm Peppa Pig.
Yes, you are Peppa Pig. And there's George. That's what everyone had. Peppa Pig versus George for the main event.
Yeah. So that was a lot of people are pretty pissy about that this morning when I woke up. I recorded it and watched up to, I think it was the Lima fight, and I had a bet on Douglas Lima actually to win against Koreshkov, so that was nice. And I had money. Who did I have money on last night? Mason Jones.
Dude is legit.
Warrior. That was he took some licks in that fight and then came and completely destroyed that Polish kid. That Polish kid's got a really good, legit record as well.
Yeah, I quite like it. I think he's a good one to look out for as well. I think he's a promising guy.
Yeah,
he's gas tank out. He'd be good. He looked too jacked for the fight. Like he was too much energy wasted.
He hit Mason with some big shots as well early on, and then he just ate them. Yeah, and then but like that, Mason Jones is going to be legit. He's going to be the next big thing I think coming out of Wales if he's not already behind Jack Shore. So. Solid week of fights. But like I say, this week's going to be special. A Conor McGregor fight week. The run up. I think he's on Ariel's show tomorrow, which is going to be interesting. So
and Khabib is.
And Khabib is. So that's I didn't know Khabib was. I just got a message from a friend saying, "You know that Conor's on the show." I'm like, I didn't know, so I'll not listen till probably later on the week anyway. But interesting fight week. I'm looking forward to solid main card. I think the main card and the kind of televised prelims are really good. The Fight Pass ones are a bit meh, but it's still fights you need to look at and see if you can get any spots to get any advantages over. So yeah.
And look, it is going to be insane. So let's kick off the fight card. Let's do the breakdowns. First fight we have on the card is Ryan LaFleur against Tony Martin. Now this is the schedule that we've got, by the way, at the present time. I don't know if it's going to be updated. It could be. We're doing this on a Sunday, the 30th, so it can sometimes update. But the schedule we have: Ryan LaFleur, Tony Martin, welterweight division. Will, do you want to kick us off then with this?
Yeah, I'm picking Uncle Tony. Yeah, I'm picking Tony. Actually going out, and I think that
Okay.
I like the fact that he's went up to welterweight. I think he is a bit undersized. I think he will be undersized. Sorry, against someone like Ryan Flair, who, when you look at pictures of them, you can certainly see that Flair's the bigger guy. But I think he's a guy who's a little bit more short one than what Tony Martin is at this point. You know what Ryan Flair's going to want to do. He's going to want to get takedowns. He's going to want to blanket you down there. But I think Tony Martin's got enough in his repertoire to kind of stop that and possibly take down himself later on in the fight. He's an American top team. I think he's training with Colby Covington. So training with a guy like that is legit. I think Ryan Flair's actually been training with Khabib and so on. So he's had a pretty legit camp as well. So I think this fight's just going to come down to the fine details. I think on the feet, Tony's a little bit more technical, a little bit more polished. The Flair, it's okay, serviceable in the feet, but his game plan is to get you to the ground and try and win the fight through that, like majority of his UFC wins. For me, I just think Tony Martin's got a few more tools in this one. I think that he can implement his game plan a little bit better than what Flair is. And I think he's got a little bit more conditioning, a little bit more cardio, and I think that's going to win him the fight 29-28.
Okay, nice. Yeah, I think LaFleur's going to be a big boy in this one compared to, like you say, Martin. I think Martin looked good against Nakamura in size because Nakamura was never a big 170, and he got a good finish there. Martin looked calm, looked patient. I'm going to go with LaFleur because I think the grappling and the size thing can play a factor. I think decision win 2-1. I think he can definitely get the first and second with the grappling for LaFleur, and then I think Tony Martin can maybe get the third round. The conditioning on LaFleur is something I do question sometimes. He does seem to gas a little bit on the third. I was up on LaFleur a few years back. I was super hyped on him, but he just didn't materialise the guy I was hoping he would be. But yeah, looking at what LaFleur offers, I think on the grappling side of things, he is a stronger guy, especially when he gets takedowns. He is good on the top for just kind of getting those rounds in. I think Tony Martin is not a bad fighter. I think he's got a great little skill set on him. Very calm, nice southpaw stance with a beautiful little pop in that left hand. But I just think LaFleur's got a bit more of the grappling. I think he'll bull rush, get the fight to the ground, even if it is in the bigger cage, which actually might not favour Tony Martin because he won't be hitting the cages early with the takedown. If LaFleur gets him down, he might be more central to the ring rather than against the cage to kind of walk himself up. So I'll go with LaFleur 2-1 on that scorecard myself. Again, let's go to the next fight. Lightweight battle in Gray Maynard against Nick Lentz. Gosh, Nick Lentz is in my opinion, he's just a younger version of what Gray Maynard is, and with a little bit more submission game to him. I think Gray Maynard got the ideal fight in Ishihara and that win that he had. It's like the UFC gave him that. They were like, look, we'll keep you in the UFC, we'll do you a solid, we'll give you Ishihara, who's got no takedown defense and no way of getting up. You can't mess this up. Take it. And he did. He got the win. But it's not much about Gray Maynard. You know, he's 39, I think it is now. What's he doing? He is there for the paycheck. There's no... It's almost like Diego Sanchez thinking he's going to win the 170 belt. Like they're in a... Like, Gray Maynard's not going to win the 155 belt. It's not going to happen. He just wants that paycheck. I think Nick Lentz has got it. I think he's got this fight. I think the wrestling side of thing... Nick Lentz's takedown defense isn't overly great, but he's quite a dangerous guy with the chokes, with the guillotines, and he's very good at wrapping them up. Because he's got actually the skill set and the wrestling, he can delay that takedown to open up that guillotine choke. So I'm actually going to go with Nick Lentz for the win. I think he's got a nice solid 1-2, which is not overly amazing, but he drives forward with a power 1-2. Gray Maynard's chin is... I think it left him about 10 years ago. He's not... Gray Maynard's going to try and get to the ground, just lie on top and just get the 3 rounds. That's all I can see from Gray Maynard. There's nothing you're going to see much else from him. I think Nick Lentz, throw some strikes, test that chin out, get Gray worried. If Gray shoots in for that takedown, go for that guillotine that Nick Lentz is very good at. Like, he has got a very good head nod, arm in guillotine or not. He's got a good choke. I can see Nick Lentz getting a guillotine choke and choking our boy Gray Maynard into retirement.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you here. I like like two guys I think a little bit shot-born, but I think that Gray is completely gone. I think it was a matchup against Teruto. I fucking that one still wrangles me because I thought Teruto was the safest guy to bet on, and he went out there and did jack and just lost the fight. But when you look at least when you look at Nick Lentz, he's not getting blown out the water by guys. He is getting outclassed a little bit, but he's not getting like knocked out or he's not getting taken out, and he's facing better guys. I mean, he beat Will Brooks. Will Brooks was never the fighter he once was in Bellator in the UFC, but David Tamer, Islam Makhachev, they're two really good names in that 155 division, so that's something you have to put a little bit of stock into. And he wasn't thoroughly outclassed in either. He wasn't good enough to beat those guys, and the guys were just a little bit better on that night. Probably just a little bit better overall, actually, but still. If you look at this one here, Gray, his kind of path to victory, it has to be takedowns. Lentz will stop those takedowns, I reckon. And I think that his reaction times aren't that great. I think that he's going to open himself up for a choke in this one, like the one he caught Will Brooks in. I think a submission. It's a bet I haven't looked at. I don't know what the price is, but Nick Lentz via submission is probably going to pay pretty handily as well. I like Nick Lentz. I'm not the biggest fan of the fight, but I think that Nick Lentz should comfortably get a win here, and it might be the last we see of Gray Maynard. I hope it is, because he's been around a long time. The Frankie fights were legendary, but he's taken his licks, and probably in those fights he took a lot of his fight career away. So yeah, I'm going to pick Nick Lentz via submission.
Next up, in a lightweight bout, it is Scott Holtzman against Alan Patrick, or Alan Patrick, however you want to pronounce it. Will take away the breakdown for this one, my man.
Close. I see it being close. I think that Alan Patrick is a spoiler fighter. There's not much to him. He's a big dude, athletic dude, a little bit throws some funky kind of strikes. He moves a wee bit weird, but he wins fights. He knows how to win fights, and he blankets fighters. So it's something that you have to be really careful with when you face this guy. Striking wise, I think you can get him, but he is a little bit herky-jerky, so he's a little bit harder to hit than some guys out there. Someone like Holtzman, I think, who stands his ground a little bit, can throw some decent strikes. He absorbs some strikes as well. I think he can get off on Alan Patrick. It's whether he can stop the takedowns consistently. I think initially that Scott will stop a few takedowns, but then I think that just the Patrick's just kind of aggressiveness to get the takedowns will start to add up a little bit and win rounds super close. I have this going to the split decision, honestly. I think that Patrick does just enough, but I've seen people taking a bet on Scott Holtzman. I think that's a really good bet, actually, because I think it's going to be close. I don't think it's going to be as one-dimensional, a one-sided fight as people seem to think it is. I think this is a really super close fight. Holtzman is not a guy that gets blown out the water at all. He's a tough, rugged guy who's hard to put away. And he's only lost a couple of good guys. Drew Dober, he wins fights in the UFC. Josh Emmett, he wins fights in the UFC. I know his wins, when you look at them, aren't the best. Cody Fista, Darryl Horcher, Michael McBride, but he went on to win the fights nonetheless. I see it being close. I see him push Patrick close, but I just think Patrick's got a little bit more with those takedowns, and he's going to win through that. So Patrick via, I'm going to go a split decision.
Mate, you and me are on the same hymn sheet tonight. Honestly, I see a split decision. I think Scott and Alan are quite similar in the fact that they like to get a takedown, like to get on top of their opponent. The only difference is Scott likes to do a little bit more on the feet before the takedown to kind of bait the opponent in for the striking, to then, and obviously that's why he takes a couple more shots than Alan. But Alan is the guy who'll throw the kind of unorthodox strike and shoot in for the takedown. So again, this is where I think Alan, his back control is something that's he's quite good at getting the back. You know, he's quite good at transitioning from, for example, when he gets a takedown for whether it be side control, half guard, or whatever. He's good at his transitions, and this is where I think he might just get the kind of points above Scott when it comes to the grappling exchanges and the scrambles. I think Alan's going to be on his back as well. I think you're going to see both guys on their back, and that's what I think the key is. Which one of them two are going to be able to get back up? or the reverse the position. Honestly, I think it's going to be super close. It's going to be really horrible for some of this fight's not. It's going to be an ugly match. It's going to be tight. They're going to be on the cage a lot, fighting for the takedowns, underhooking. It's just going to be just horrible. Like, for viewing wise, it's not going to be a great one. I'm a bit surprised at the matchup, but you're going to see who can maybe out. It's that third round, you know. I think it's the third round is going to be key. I'm going to go Allen as well, 2-1. It's because I just think on the ground he can hold it a bit more longer because his positional transitions, I think he can get like the back and have a bit longer control of Scott. So again, super tight, but I'll probably go Allen as well for just a 2-1 split. Would not surprise me if he gets if Scott wins one of those decisions. But let's go to the main event, so to speak, of the prelims. The last time this girl fought was basically effectively for the title. It was on a pay-per-view. It was a big name event, and now she's down, buried in the prelims. You have Lena Landsberg against Kunitskaya. Wow, bless her. But the thing is, she did what all bantamweights did. The UFC went, oh, we need someone to fight her. Well, I'll fight her. Sign me up, and then I'll just drop down a weight class, because there is no such thing as featherweight, and it's basically the Chris Cyborg division. So let's sign me up. This one's quite a tight fight, if I'm honest with you. Yuna, she does not throw enough, in my opinion. She doesn't throw enough strikes in a round. She'll throw one strike and then kind of comes out the range and throws one. And she doesn't throw the numbers game, and it gripes me a little bit. She's super easy to take down, in my opinion. She gets taken down too easy in some fights. From the fights I've watched of her, she gets taken down too much. She's susceptible to getting submitted. Lena Landsberg and Yuna are kind of similar in style, where they both want to stand up. So it's not a fight where Yuna's going to have to worry too much. But if I'm Lena, I'm going to try and take her down. You know, that's for me to win. I'd just take Yuna down. I think she's open for takedowns too often, especially the inside and the outside leg sweeps. She is there all day. Lena Landsberg, she likes to do a crash and get you to the cage and grind you out and just wear you down. It's a nasty style, but it works. It gets her wins. We saw it in person ourselves up at UFC Liverpool when she fought Gina. I'm going to go with Lena. I think that she has a higher output on the feet, so she throws her combinations and her clinch game. And I think she might be, hopefully she's wise enough to see that the trips are there, get down, get the points on the board. I'd go for a decision win for Lena on this one.
I'm going the other way. I'm going Yana Kunitskaya. I think that when you watch Lena Landsberg's fights, all of her fights seem to take place against the fence. Mm-hmm. Everyone, the Lad fight, the Pudilova fight, the Mazzani fight, it always seems to congregate against the fence. And when I look at that, I think initially, right, that's going to have to be a clinch battle, or maybe clinching and then someone pushing against the cage. And I think that's where someone like Yana could do that there. And I think in the clinch, I think she's a better clinch fight. I think you're right with takedowns. There's a possibility that Landsberg could go for takedowns, but she hasn't really showed an awful lot of that in her UFC career. So she's willing to just stand up there, kind of trade, and she gets marked up really easily. She gets whacked a lot. She gives a fair bit of it back. And that fight with Mazzani was close. I think I bet Mazzani, actually. I did. But I thought when I went back and watched it that Landsberg just did enough to kind of win the fight. Wasn't a hell of a lot between them. I think as a cleaner striker, Yana is a cleaner striker, and she's got a little bit, maybe more striking arsenal. But like you say, she doesn't usually use it that much. She's kind of slow-tempered with it, doesn't really do much. But I think she can do enough in this one, and I think she's got a better gas tank where she can last longer. If she avoids the big damage, if Landsberg gets off big damage, that could deplete her a little bit. Then it comes very, very close, and then maybe you're playing into someone like Landsberg's style. Yeah. I'm a lot more confident that Yana is a better fighter at this point in time. So I'm going to pick Yana. I'm going to pick her to win via TKO, actually. I'm going to go a third round stoppage for Yana Kunitskaya.
Okay, nice. I like it. Next up is another women's fight in the bantamweight division. Aspen lad, Tonya Evinger, again, another girl who fought for the title and is put back down. But again, fought Cyborg at 145, stepped up short note. But, we all know Tonya is, Mr. Evinger is a game fighter. She's never short or shy. Mate, this is like the new guard, the old guard. Take it away.
Yeah, I think it's a good fight. Initially, when I heard this one, I thought, I quite like Evinger in that one. And then obviously go and watch a few fights, and I'm like, no, I think the new breed's coming through here. I think she's bigger, she's more brutal, she's stronger. I've got a couple of worries with her making the weight. That seems to be a little bit of a problem for Aspen lad. But from the pictures that I've seen on Instagram, she looks in great shape.
Shredded.
Yeah, she looks shredded. She looks strong. She looks ready to go. But I thought that last week, or the last event with Lewis Enrique, and he went out there and he gassed after a couple of minutes. So that's something that I need to watch from doing, is don't put too much stock into pictures you see on Instagram that you don't know how they're looking at that time. But it was a kind of close-ish fight, but Ryan Spann did the business. For me, I think that Aspen lad is a little bit more brutal, not brutal, just a little bit better, on the feet. She's a little bit more to her game. I think that Evinger, I think we've seen the best of Evinger. I think we've seen that in Invicta, where she pretty much ran the bantamweight division. She lost to Kunitskaya, that was a weird one, then she won it back.
She beat Kunitskaya with an armbar, but then it got... she lost an armbar. She lost, it's weird, wasn't it?
It's a whole weird thing.
Yeah.
It was something to do with the ref or something, I remember, but then she kind of righted that wrong the second time around. Came in, gave a spirit performance, I thought, against Chris Cyborg. Kept herself in there. Didn't really kind of do an awful lot, but showed she's got a lot of toughness, a lot of grit, a lot of kind of determination to keep going. But I think her best days, honestly, are past. Wins over like Dandwa, Aldana, Pani, Colin Schneider. I think that was a kind of heyday, and she is old. I think she's in her late 30s as well. Against
like 36, I think she is. 36, 37, yeah.
I just struggle to see where she outclasses someone like Aspen lad, and I'd rather go with the young girl who's undefeated, showing she's got a lot of game, and she's progressing every fight. I mean, she's beat some, it's hard to say legit fighters, but she's beat Landsberg, who is established. She stopped her. Sijara Eubanks, who's probably on the cusp of fighting for the title if she wins her next fight. So, and Amanda Cooper, who I know she's got a losing record, but she's still a recognisable face. She did that 3 years ago, I want to say. So, and she was only 20 years old at the time. So yeah, for me, I think Aspen lad can really put a beating on Tonya Evinger here, and I'm very, very confident she wins this fight.
I'm very confident in Aspen lad as well. I think she is I think she's a potential future for the bantamweight division. She is going to be one of the future stars. She's just working her way up the ranks at the moment, and the UFC aren't really jumping on her in any way. I think part of the thing is the weight kind of question. I think a simple bit of time and effort with a nutritionist, and she'll make the weight easy. But we also got to remember that women, they've got to be a bit careful with the women making weight. We all know it's a bit of a danger, but I think Aspen lad, for me, I think she could absolutely be a terror in this bantamweight division in like 2-3 years. She's young, really young. She's shown great talent. Her hands are quick. She's got good output, way higher output than Tonya. Way higher output. I think she'll be quicker. I think she won't get taken down. I think that's all she wants to do is take her down. Like, that's all she's got. She's slow. Her footwork's flat. She like you said, the best days was Invicta. Smaller cage. She can close down fighters a bit easier, and they would have a tougher time to try and they'd have a tough time wrestling with her. But like you said, there's some promotions that are people's caps, and I think even for Tonya, I think her cap, her ceiling was Invicta. I think she could have stayed there, just had some good battles. But you know what? She's gone UFC short notice against Cyborg. She's staying in there. She's getting paid. I'm not going to gripe on that. Finish her career in the UFC. Good on her. She didn't get in at the first because of her mouth. She ran her mouth a bit, and the UFC weren't overly keen on that. But yeah, kudos to her. But I think Aspen lad's just going to absolutely destroy the old guard with speed, power, and I think she'll probably get a decision for Aspen Ladd, but it'll be a beating. I just think Tonya's just tough. She's just a tough fighter. You know, Aspen Ladd does not hit as hard as Cyborg. You know, let's put it that way. So I just think for 3 rounds, Tonya can take a beating, and she can get on with this. Next up, bro. I love this dude. Next up we have is Vincent Luque, okay, against Jalin Turner. Now, Mr. Turner is making his UFC debut. He was on Dana White, Tuesday Night Contender. Gosh, I forgot what it was called there for a moment. Dana White Tuesday Night Contender. And that's where he got his kind of notoriety from there. He was also previously been on Bellator, so he's been on the big lights, let's say. He's been on one of the bigger promotions before, so it's not a new scene for him, but being the UFC on a pay-per-view, I think it's a big jump. So he's a new face, but give you a heads up. This dude is huge. Like really big. Like, he's tall, he's 6'3", he's got a big reach. I think it's like a 77-inch reach off the top of my head, I think it was on that. Like, he's a really long, tall fighter. I think I was a bit surprised that Vincent Luque got this opponent. I thought that maybe Vincent Luque would have got someone else a little bit more established in the welterweight division, but they probably got a lot of confidence with this guy because Turner put in a beautiful performance in Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender. I thought that what I've seen of Turner, he's a nice, patient guy. He's got a beautiful little straight left. Calm, he's got good combinations. He doesn't look like he's hitting hard, but he clearly cracks. That dude looks just so placid when he strikes, but he is hitting hard. Vincent Luque has got to mind himself. He's got to be on point and not mess up, because Turner could put him to sleep. Because Vincent Luque, we know what Vincent Luque brings. He's an aggressive guy. Good strike. He's a good striker in the fact that he will bring power, but Turner's got a good counter. You know, he's got a good pop. He's got a good angle for it. I think Turner's live in this. I do. I legit think Turner's live, but I think Vincent Luque should win. But you worry that Vincent Luque might think, oh, it's okay. He's not like. It's not like I'm fighting a guy like Belal Muhammad. It's not like I'm fighting Belal Muhammad, or I'm not fighting Alan Jouban. You know, someone who could push him a little bit more the rankings with a win or something. I worry that might potentially go into Vincent Luque's head. I hope it doesn't. I hope he just stays focused, treats it like a championship fight, like it's his last shot. And if he does that, he should win Vincent Luque with striking. He should be able to get him down and get the win. I'm gonna go with Luque. But I do legit think Turner could be live in this one for a counter finish. But I'm going to go with Luque, second round stoppage, probably with a submission. I'm just going to go wild there with a second round submission.
Yeah, I think that Turner's got. I think he's got a bit to him. I think in the future, if they keep him around and they give him the right fights, I think he'll turn into a good fighter. There's a big step up though facing Vicente Luque and in your first official UFC fight. Someone like Luque, who is super technical in the feet, doesn't rush things, picks his shots well, good combination striker, mixes in with really nice leg kicks as well. And on top of that, he's got a ground game as well. He's got a really legit ground game, I think. But like I say, the one thing I like about him is he's just super patient. And he waits for his opportunity, and we've seen that. I mean, just like I say, with his combinations, we've seen that against Belal Muhammad. Knocked him out with a really nice combination shot. As soon as it hurt him, took him out there. Faced Leon Edwards, which Leon Edwards is a ranked fighter now, so it's not the worst loss. It wasn't his best performance. Since then, he's came back with 2 stoppages of Nico Price, Charlie Preux. I think one by sub, one by TKO. So the guy's got some. I think he's got a high ceiling as a top 10 welterweight in my opinion. And in this one here, when you look at Turner, I just think it's a little bit too soon. It's a little bit weird, these kind of fights getting, like they did this at UFC 227 with Kevin Holland and Thiago Santos. These fights are thrown in like a couple of weeks' notice, not even that. So it's just a little bit interesting now. I just think that Luque's far too composed in every kind of facet of the game. I think he will see that Turner's got a lot of reach. He's got a fairly decent jab. I think he'll take him to the ground where I think he's got a huge advantage with his jiu-jitsu, and he'll find a submission in the middle part of the fight.
Nice, I like it. Okay, next up, bro. Some guy you don't like, Sergio Pettis, is stepping up against Justin Formiga in a fight that should have happened before, but it didn't. It fell through injuries, but now it's happening. Dude, I want to see how you break this down, because it's a hell of a fight. Let's put it this way: that is a fight that I'm happy that it got rescheduled. I'm happy it's happening. That's all I can say.
It's a really good fight, and I think it's a really tough fight to pick. I'm not confident in my pick in this one, for the fact that Formiga is actually another guy. Well, I'll come out and say that Pettis is my pick, but Formiga is also one of my favourite fighters in the flyweight division. Yeah. And it would really be interesting if Formiga could find a way to get this to the ground. I think he will have opportunities, but he's got to be really smart with it, and he's got to get into like striking kind of not like a striking war, but get into like a little bit of a fight where he can get the opportunity, maybe get into a clinch to maybe get a takedown from there. That's where I think he needs to work. He maybe needs to try and get into the clinch to maybe drop down, flop to his back, and hopefully Pettis kind of falls him down there. He gets in a position where he's maybe got his back, because I think if he's the kind of fighter that you do not want on your back, if you get this guy on your back, you're in deep trouble, and he's shown that in the past. And the guy's lost to the elite of the division, and he's right up there. He's been around for the longest time. Losses to Rayborg. When Rayborg turns up, he's a legit guy. Cejudo's the champion. Benavidez is the number one contender all the time, pretty much. Probably not now that Pettis beat him. And then John Dodson, who fought for a belt a couple of times as well. So we all know what he wants to do. He wants to try and get the fight to the ground. He's obviously got probably an advantage down there. I'm not saying that Pettis is not good down there, but he's definitely better on the feet. It's fairly obvious that if he keeps on the feet and he doesn't get taken down, he will outpoint Jussier Formiga fairly easily, I reckon. Not taking anything away from Formiga's striking. I think it's something that's a little bit underrated. But it's just, can he get the fight to the ground? If he gets the fight to the ground, then it gets super interesting. For me, I think that Pettis is, over the 15 minutes, he's going to do enough to stay on the feet. And from there, I think he just has more output. He lands the bigger, better strikes. But I see points in this fight where Formiga, I think it's a really tough fight for Sergio Pettis facing Formiga. So I'm not super confident. I'm picking Pettis via decision. But I would like to see this go to the ground, see what he's got down there, because can he hang with one of the best guys down there? Show something more at his game, because we know his striking's legit, very technical, picks his shots well. But I want to see more, and because you're going to need more in that division. He's already faced the champions of that division, the big guys. So he's putting himself. He wins this fight, he probably puts himself right in line for a shot at the title, depending who has the belt. Because I mean, Cejudo kind of did the business on him fairly easily in that fight. So he maybe needs to impress here, maybe try and get a finish. But Pettis for me is the pick, but not super confident, honestly.
Yeah, it's one that I went back and watched a few fights on the pair of them, and it's horrible because both of them have fought Joseph Benavidez, but the Benavidez that fought Formiga was a different Benavidez. It was a Benavidez who was fit, healthy, on point, ready. The Benavidez that fought Pettis, been out for a while, coming back from injury, first fight back, it wasn't quite the same Joseph Benavidez. So not a lot, you can take a bit from it, but you can't take everything from it. Pettis, like you said, he's very good on the feet. I think he's actually probably a lot. I quite like his brother on standing, but I think Pettis' striking starting to get it's starting to come up to his brother's level in a way, going surpassing with the combinations and the confidence that Pettis is just growing all the time with. I do feel that he can outstrike Jussier Formiga, but the thing is, Jussier could close that gap down with strikes, get close to space, and get that takedown in. I think it's experience. This is where age kind of can benefit you, and experience in there can benefit you big time. Pettis is still grown up, still growing, still developing, getting those minutes in the cage. I think Formiga has the knowledge how to get that fight to the ground and get him down, but Pettis ain't no slouch getting up. The dude can get up. Like Pettis, like I'm not saying he doesn't have to meddle with Formiga on the ground. He has to just show his hand by getting up. And that'll frustrate Formiga and maybe tire him out a little bit. Flyweights don't tire too much, to be fair. But, man, it's hard. It's a horrible one. I would hate to pick I could never certainly pick someone, but I'll go for a decision win. I'm going to go with Formiga. I'm only basing this purely just on experience. I think he's just a smarter ring tactician to get that 3 rounds. I think there's not a great deal in it, because I feel like I said on the ground, Formiga, if he gets you back, certainly Pettis could be in a world of trouble if Formiga gets his back in the first round, and you don't know. Yeah, it's incredible, and Formiga can get you back in a split second. You give him just a small opening and he can get it. He's so good at it. Yeah, I'm with you. It's a horrible one to pick, but I'll pick Formiga. You've gone Pettis. I'm going to pick Formiga because it's super tight, and I think he could maybe just be the smart guy, do the right thing, and get the decision win. Because if you get a decision win, like you said, he gets a win over Pettis, then he puts himself in line. So I think the pair of them, the both of them are potentially putting themselves in talks for that shot. So I'd probably just go Formiga. Next up. The UFC are kind of supporting this guy, putting a bit of backing behind him. Sean O'Malley, he's fighting Jose Quinonez. Quinonez. I think Sean's got himself a good battle here. I think it's Sean last fight. Sean, actually, let's put it this way: Sean should have lost his last fight. Okay, Andre is just an absolute whopper. And doesn't have any fight IQ, doesn't listen to his corner, doesn't have a Scooby what's going on, and couldn't see that someone had a really sore leg. How? I don't know, right? But anyway, so Sean, I want to say, fluked his way to that win. Let's put it this way, because he messed his leg up and he somehow ended up getting the win. He's got himself a fight, it's not actually the fight that Sean wants, because Quinonez likes to kick your leg, and he kicks that leg really hard, and that's something that Sean's gonna have to. He's got to be minding his P's and Q's here, because his legs are going to get absolutely torn up, and after coming back from that particular injury, when that area is, I'm not going to say not healed, but when that area is like the kind of vulnerable part of your body after being hit, Cardinals have just conceded.
It was the Chargers. I thought they were going to run back a kick return, but the kicker actually got in the way. So about 13 seconds before the end of the first half. So.
Damn it! You goddamn Chargers. Sort it out. I think Quinonez he can take a hit, he can take a crack, and Sean's going to probably land a couple of strikes here. Let's be honest. With the way Sean strikes, he's long, he's rangy, he throws on kind of long-bodied shots is the best way to put it. He throws those shots that long guys should be throwing, and he lands them really well. I don't take too much from that silly show, the Fox show, where he hit the punch bag and all that, because he had like a 3-step run-up for a start. So, if I hit a punch bag and I get 3 steps, guess what? I'm going to get a good score. But anyway, I think I'm going to go Sean O'Malley decision. I'm not overly confident again, because I think Quinonez could absolutely rip up Sean's legs and take away a decision victory here. Quinonez is no slouch. He's no mess about. He lost to Andrea Perez, who's a beast himself. Other than that, he's won every other fight in the UFC. So he is no slouch himself. I just think Sean will have a little bit more of an output, which will get him the rounds. If Quinonez doesn't wreck his legs enough, he can get that decision win. But again, No. Some fights on this card I'm not overly confident with, and this is another one. I picked Sean O'Malley just because I think his flash and exuberance kind of catches the judge's eyes when he lands. So I'm going to Sean decision, but not. Don't ask me to put my house on it.
I think when I first heard about this, I thought it was a good fight for him, but a really super tough fight for him. Because Quinonez is one of those just Mexican guys who can take a lot of punishment, can give a lot of punishment, and goes really, really hard for 15 minutes. When you look at the Sean O'Malley, like the fight with Sukumtath, everybody talks about the third round and when he messed up his foot, and like I still don't know. You watch Sukumtath and you wonder what he was doing a little bit there, and obviously that's just a low fight IQ that you don't recognise things that happen, because the guy's hopping about on one foot and you don't notice that and you decide to take him down. I mean, come on. When you look at the first round of that fight, I thought it was 10-8. Sean O'Malley, he absolutely beat the ass off Sukumtath. The second round was a lot closer. He got a takedown, blanketed him a little bit, but once O'Malley attempted submissions, got a sweep, got into the mount position, I thought he stole that round from Sukumtath. This here, I think that Teko can get takedowns in his last 4 wins, albeit not against really, really good fighters. He still went on and won those fights, and he's shown progression every fight. And I think he's a live dog in this one. I think O'Malley, personally for me, I think this is going to be the coming out show in the UFC. I think this is going to be, he's going to come out here, he's going to be too fast, he's going to be too slick. I've got a feeling that he's going to show better takedown defense. He's not going to be putting his back as easy as he has been in the past. But he is dangerous off his back. He threw up submissions, he threw up a triangle against Sukumtath. So he's got stuff there. He's got a lot of flashy strikes, but he's one of those fighters that you like. Well, I like watching personally because there's a lot of substance to him. He's got a really good length to him. He mixes it in well with his kicks. I think he uses brilliant feints, and he's a switch stance fighter. So you don't know what stance you're going to get from him. I think that makes him a very dangerous commodity in the octagon. Quinonez is going to be there for the 15 minutes. So I think that Sean O'Malley via a decision's a really good play here. I won a bet on him last time by Sean O'Malley via decision. I actually bet him as an underdog and via decision, and I had a really good payout in that one. So I'm going to go Sean O'Malley. I think this is a very tough fight. I'm not writing off Quinonez, but I just think this is the fight where he shows us that maybe in the future this guy could be a legit potential contender at 135.
Yeah, cool. And now next up is the main card, and we have kicking off the main card, Michelle Karate Hottie Waterson against Felice Herrig. Strawweight battle, man. How do you see this one go?
Another one of these close fights where I've not got the biggest amount of confidence in, but when you kind of look at both girls are predominantly stand-up fighters. They come from the standing kind of background, the striking background. Obviously, Michelle Waterson with the karate and the kickboxing and the Muay Thai from Felice Herrig. But both girls like to, or they can, integrate takedowns into their game and be dominant in that. I think that Waterson, as she's kind of went through her career and got a little bit more experience, she's decided she wants to use that a little bit more, and she's shown she's got decent takedowns. Obviously, she showed against Magana. Not that I'm holding that in that kind of up there, because anybody I think could take down Angela Magana, but she showed it against
Angela Magana goes down.
Yeah.
Easy.
Paige Van Zandt, she got the win there. Rose, she got caught in that one, but she gave us. I thought she gave us a good fight. Tisha Torres, she took down Tisha Torres, who's really hard to get down as well. So the fight with Courtney Casey was very close. Could have went either way. I think she got maybe just enough, but I think
super tight.
Yeah, it was. I think that it was the same actually with Courtney Casey and Felice Herrig. That fight was close. That could have went either way. There was a bit of bad blood in that one. I was spitting going on in that fight as well. I think so. It was a little bit out there. On the feet, I think that obviously the more technical, the more varied striker is Michelle. I think that Felice is at that kind of level now where she gained obviously a lot of confidence when she came back and she started reeling off wins. She's coming off a loss over Carolina.
Was it a split? Was it a
yeah.
split loss? Yeah, it was tight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was. I had it more unanimous for Carolina, but I mean, she had 4 wins in a row before that loss, so she needs to try and get that confidence back if she can. I think that Michelle can get takedowns here. I think this is where predominantly the fight's going to take place, in the clinch and on the ground. I think that Herrig is strong, but I think that Michelle is very dogged with her takedowns, and she expends a lot of energy in getting them to the ground, but I think she will find ways to get it to there. I can see this possibly being a split, but I'm going to pick Michelle Waterson for the win here.
I'm on the other side of the fence. Same thing. I think Felice can use her takedowns because she's got like the Pat Curran brothers, the wrestling that she's got there. I think her wrestling's quite underestimated, and I think, like I say, Felice is shredded and strong. I think she can get Michelle down and use her takedowns and get on top. And basically, they're both of them. I would like to knock each other out, but I think the pair of them are quite tough in that sense where they're not knockout artists, so to speak. Michelle is probably the more likely to do it with her kicks, but I think I think from a tactical standpoint, if you're a coach, you'd be thinking, right, we're going to get the 3 rounds here. Let's get a decision. I'm going to go with Felice. I just think, like, pretty much what you said there with the technical side of things. I think her wrestling, she could probably get Michelle down, and when she does, get on top of her and just keep her down a bit. You know, just short little strikes, keep the referee happy, and nothing too major. Maybe go from a guard to a half guard, or guard, half guard to side control, something not too major. I just think, if Michelle gives a backup, maybe she might get, that's my only worry. Wonder what happened if Felice can get it back, but. Other than that, I'd probably just go with a decision win for Felice. Again, if it's 2-1, would not be surprised. I don't see a lot in it between the two of them. I think they're both quite well balanced in skill sets for the pair of them. There's not one that's superior in one facet than the other, really, and by great depth. So I'm going to go just with Felice. Next up is some skinny boys in the heavyweight division. Probably the best guy ever, Derrick Lewis. If you don't like Derrick Lewis, I don't like you. Like, he's impossible. Like, the dude has got a sense of humour that tickles me, I'll tell you that much. And a beast in Alexander Volkov. Let's be honest, Alexander Volkov is a beast right now. He is probably one of the most dangerous men, or if not the most dangerous man in that heavyweight division right now. So look, you got Derrick Lewis, who we know what Derrick Lewis is about. He will stand, he will not use any footwork, he'll plod his feet, and he will just want to land his hands on you. He'll throw kicks, he throws, for someone that big, he shouldn't be throwing them moves like he does, because we know about his back, he's having a bad back, he's talked about it a few times, and I don't think those kicks that he throws helps. If I'm anyone fighting Derrick Lewis, I want to initiate or trigger that back. Bro, don't hit your camera because it looks like you're doing it. It's froze. Beautiful thing that Skype is. Yeah, I think Derrick Lewis, he'll throw those banana kicks that, like, they're just absolutely bonkers banana, throwing his legs up and throwing them, and it's just, he just does it, I think, to keep guys away more than trying to land them. But Volkov, when he throws his kicks, that dude's going to hurt you. He throws kicks pretty well. He's got good head kicks. And what you got to remember, folks, is it's not like Sergio Pettis down at flyweight throwing a head kick. Volkov is, 200 odd pounds of weight kicking into you. So those are going to hurt your arms or hurt you. It's going to hurt when it lands, no matter where it hits you. I think Volkov, with his output and his striking, I think he'll cause Derrick Lewis a nightmare here. I think he is a bit better than Derrick Lewis in that facet. I don't think either men are going to try to take each other down. I don't see it being that way. I think it'll be a stand-up fight. Do I think Derrick Lewis will get put away, though? Yeah, I do. I think Volkov can stop Derrick Lewis. I'm going to go out there. I think Volkov is that dark horse in the heavyweight division who, UFC aren't talking too much or pushing too much about getting a title shot, but only because they've got DC and Brock Lesnar, so that's all they care about. It's all about the money. You know, Volkov doesn't really bring any money. It doesn't bring the numbers, so they'll try to keep that. They'll probably actually do Stipe versus Volkov before they'd even do Volkov in a title fight, if anything, or Cain Velasquez against Volkov if they could, and hope that Cain can wrestle him out of the fight. But I'm going to go with Volkov. I'm going to go third round TKO. I just think gradual heavyweights get tired. I think Lewis will be tired or his back will be gone, and I think Volkov can get the win.
I'm going the other way. I'm going the Black Beast here. I think that it's not to say I've not been impressed by Volkov. I think that he's had good matchups, and as he's progressed through the UFC, he's beginning to get up levels. And I honestly, I didn't see him beating Verdum at all. I thought Verdum would have handled business comfortably, but once he realised he couldn't get to the ground at Volkov's striking, he started to ping him up a little bit, he started to hurt him, and then eventually got him out there. So that's a massive win over a guy who had the belt. Obviously, I thought he lost his first UFC fight to Tim Johnson. We were there. And I was 100%. Like, how and I still think that, going back and watching the fight a couple of times that I have since then. But he's established himself as a guy that's right in there for a title shot if he wins this fight. For me, Derrick Lewis is a guy you just have to be super careful with at all times. He gives you opportunities, but if you get those opportunities, you need to make them count. Like Tybura had opportunities where he had his back. I think he had him mount at one point, and couldn't take those opportunities. As soon as he gets those opportunities, you're in trouble. On the feet, if he lands anything with any substancy, I think he can knock Volkov clean out. In saying that, sometimes Black Beast's a little bit laboured. Obviously, that back problem. Hopefully, who knows what's going on with that, because he's pulled out a fight on the day of the fights and so on. I just think he's going to catch Volkov at some point in this fight. If you go back and watch Volkov's old fights, a couple of times in Bellator, he was dropped by uppercuts. Minikov caught with a beautiful uppercut. Richard Hale caught him with an overhand right. And these guys aren't even on the level of power what Derrick Lewis has. If he can get you, it doesn't take that much with this guy. I mean, in the Tybura fight, Tybura I think was on his way to winning that fight. Slightest little opening, he went in there and absolutely caught him and just put him to sleep. Nasty. I'm not even going to mention the Francis Ngannou fight because it was just horrible. Went back and watched it, and it'll be the last time I ever watched it.
What?
Yeah, I went and watched it. Just the fact I was off ill, so I went and watched it just for the sake of it, and I felt even worse afterwards. So
it gave me the runs that would.
Yeah. I just think that Derrick Lewis is going to catch him here. I think that he's got a legit opportunity to get in here and take Volkov out. He has to. I think he has to take him out. I think over the 15 minutes, Volkov could potentially frustrate him outstriking, because we've seen that in the past. Like Shamil Abdurrahimov did that before Black Beast got to that amount and just unloaded him. So I'm going to go a second round knockout for the Black Beast.
Nice, like it. Don't worry, it pained me to say Volkov by the win there, by the way. It did, because Lewis is the man. Heavyweight, I like a heavyweight matchup now. Going down a little bit. OSP, Dominick Reyes. It'll go under the radar, this fight, I think. But yeah, break this down, Will. How do you see this fight going down? Because it's a quiet one, this one on the card.
This is one I'm struggling with a little bit, because Dominick, this is a clear step up from what he's faced in his UFC tenure, because the 3 fights that he's had in the UFC have been, I don't want to say easy. Yeah, been comfortable, and they made the right steps. And they went with Joachim Christensen, old guy for that division. Jeremy Kimball, who's just not good.
Cannon, he retired.
Yeah,
Kimball, he retired after he got battered again.
Yeah. Cannonier is he's serviceable. I think he's a good fighter, and when he puts it together, he is a solid fighter. But this guy finishes fights, and he does it. He can do it via submission. He can do it via knockout as well. OSP is one of those guys that you can never count out, because he's pretty crafty. He's got really big submissions that he can pull off. He's got big strikes he can pull off as well. We've seen that with Corey Anderson. He was down in that fight, and he pulled out a head kick and won that fight. the Von Flue chokes. That if he gets you down there, he's awkward and he's nasty. I think he beats a lot of guys outside that top. Well, you've got your 5 guys or your 4 guys. You've got your Jones, DC, Ozdemir, Gustafsson. Oh, geez, Blakovic. You could add them now. I think he loses Manoa. He's obviously lost to those 5 guys. I don't think he ever beats. But anybody else outside that, he completely beats, and he does it pretty viciously at times as well. But for me, I think that Reyes is just a little bit. I don't want to say unknown because we've seen 3 fights and we've seen what he's all about. But this is this clear step up to see if he belongs in that upper echelon of that division. And OSP is hard to look good against. Initially, I was on Ovince and Preux, but then when you watch what Reyes can do, I think Reyes is going to stop OSP here. So I'm going to go Dominick Reyes via a TKO.
Oof, same prediction as me. The reason for me is I think OSP's taken he's been finished a few too many times of recent for me, and I think that we don't know what OSP rocks up. If OSP is on point, on fire, confidence is coming out of his ears, you know, he's just the OSP that we've seen before. He can test anyone in that division. OSP is absolutely fantastic to watch when he's on fire, and legitimately, I think he could have been a title contender for years if he was always just pushing. But there's something there's a mental block where sometimes he just doesn't rock up. The Jimmy Manoa fight is the best example of it I've seen. He should have handedly had a good fight against Jimmy Manoa, and I think he should have beat Jimmy Manoa. I think 9 times out of 10 he should beat Jimmy Manoa. I think he should be able to out-grapple him for fun, and his striking should have caused problems for him, but he didn't. And that's the key. He got put to sleep. Dominick Reyes, big guy, big reach. So straight away you take away the advantages that OSP generally could have with some dudes, you know. I think Dominick Reyes throws some powerful strikes, head kicks, good power. He throws good body kicks too, like teeps and body shots. He throws good strikes. Dominick Reyes as well. He's a powerful hitter, and he doesn't. He's not overly aggressive where he will go into trouble. He'll go into, like, to try and finish someone. He won't just charge and swing. He'll just patiently just crack with beautiful combinations. Like you said, it's a step up. But the thing is, Dominick Reyes is showing he can beat that mid-tier light heavyweight division. Like he can beat the mid-tier guys. He's done the job. He's went in, beat the guys that are mid-tier that aren't ranked. He's got to fight someone ranked, so they're giving him someone. And I think OSP, yes, he is a step up, but he's an unknown step up, isn't he? Because we don't know what he'll get. I'm going Dominick Reyes. I'm going first round. So I think he'll just catch OSP off. I think OSP just won't be ready for it. And I think Dominick Reyes, I'll go crazy. I'm going to go first round finish for him here.
Nice.
Co-main event, or should we call it backup for the main event, just in case, because we don't know yet what's going to happen. It's still theoretically for us 6 days away, so anything can happen in 6 days. So we have a backup fight. We have Tony Ferguson against Anthony Pettis. Now, I am still the mindset of, I don't know if Tony Ferguson's leg's okay. And then you see him doing those bloody crazy exercises on Instagram still, and I'm just, he gets me on edge. Oh. How this dude's come back from knee surgery, ACLs this quick, and fight camp and ready to go it's testament to him and his mental fortitude and his mindset and will to win. I think as well because he knows he's got not that long. He's no spring chicken, and he doesn't want to. I think part of it, you don't want to lose that shot of that title fight, because the lightweight division changes so quickly that in a year, like guys who were up there are down, and guys who were down or up. It's bananas. So, but man, he's got a fight on his hands against a resurgent Anthony Pettis coming off that Chiesa win, which he needed. Let's be honest, Anthony Pettis needed that win big time, and he got it. Kudos to him. I think Tony Ferguson's a different kettle of fish. What's Tony Ferguson on, like an eight fight win streak? 9? Something like that? I can't, off the top of my head. Like, crazy win streak. Yeah, albeit he's come back from surgery, so a big question is, how strong is that knee? How fluid is Tony Ferguson? How's he going to be? One thing Tony Ferguson is open to strikes. He gets hit. Anthony Pettis is a sniper-like striker. So you, straight away, I think you're kind of making it here. It's kind of favouring Anthony Pettis straight off the bat. For me, the only way Ferguson wins this is by getting the fight to the ground. Like, on the ground, don't get me wrong, Anthony Pettis is legit a ninja on the ground, but I think Tony Ferguson on the ground, he's just got those long limbs, which kind of like several other guys who catch you off guard with what they can do with it. Long-limbed guys can get those darces or guillotines and that normally guys can't get because they've got the short limbs. And Tony Ferguson's one of them guys. We've all seen it. When he gets even just a small opportunity, he will whip on a choke. And part of me, for some reason, part of me is pushing over to Anthony Pettis on a stylistic fight. I don't know why. It's weird, but I just think the fight starts standing. Ferguson gets hit, and Pettis is a sniper striker. Pettis has got confidence back. I'm going to go Pettis, and I think he can either stop Ferguson late in the third or get a decision win. Because I just feel that Tony Ferguson, because it's a 3-round fight as well, let's be fair, so 3 rounds, the pair of those dudes can go, put a good high output, they can just keep going, they can put a bit more than they would do a 5-round fight. I'm going to go crazy. I know it feels weird saying Anthony Pettis, but I think it just stylistically, it's not an ideal matchup for Ferguson, because I think Pettis has just got that sniper kind of striking, those head kicks, you can see them coming, he's got the great timing with his hands. I think just some reason why, I don't know why, but I'm going to go Pettis with this, mate. Late stoppage or decision win, but I think he lights up Tony Ferguson's smush.
I think the matchup is a good one for Pettis. I think when you look at them, you think these guys match up very, very well together, and I want to believe that Pettis can go in there and be the old Pettis that I think he can be, but I'm trying not to get lulled into a false sense of security. I remember we did this for UFC 223, obviously the fight got pulled in, and I was like, Pettis is going to win this fight. Pettis is going to win this fight, and I was like, and then we got to 226, and I'm like, I'm not sure, and then I was like, humming in hand with my pick, really wanted to pick Pettis. And then when that fight started, I was like, oh, what a jackass. I should have picked Pettis because Chiesa missed weight, didn't look good, was carrying big injuries into that fight. And then you've got someone who's a really good counter striker. It's just an overall really good fighter, is Pettis. When he's striking zone and it's pinpoint, he's a tough guy to face. He's got legit jiu-jitsu skills, which people can still underestimate with him. But I'm still trying to think that it was only 2 fights ago that he quit against Aspen. Not quit, he was hurt.
His rib went,
and mate, I can't say anything regarding that because it's never happened to me, but I'm sure
I have. It's awful. Yeah, I busted my ribs in rugby. You can't breathe, you can't sit up without being in agony. Yeah, and if someone sat on top here, I could only imagine the pain he was in. It's unreal.
With that, I mean, he has taken a lot of damage, I want to say, within the last 3 years.
Half AL fight was a good one. Like, there's a lot of damage in that one.
It all really started from Dos Anjos. He came back. I thought he came back a little bit too quick after subbing Melendez, I thought. But he was fresh and he wanted to go. But RD just beat him up. Barboza brutalised him with leg kicks. Then he tried to go down to 145. Started off well, then missed weight against Holloway, and Holloway then just absolutely demolished him. Poirier obviously got to him. So his last 2 wins, Jim Miller and Chiesa, they're always decent wins when you beat especially someone like Miller, who's the amount of fights that guy's had. Kaiser, who's a big dude, he's an awkward dude. I want to believe that Pettis is
back
in the reckoning here and is back. I really do, and you'll know. I will support him no matter what. And some people still go at me and say, "Oh, you say you're a big fan of this guy, but you pick against him." I was like, "Well, you've got to look at the fight and see how you think it's going to go." Like you said, Ferguson is not a young kid anymore. He's not a young guy, and he's coming off a big injury, and he's came back really super quick from that injury. So, I want to pick Pettis, but I just think that if Ferguson's got that style, he's got that cardio that is going to keep on going. He's going to throw a lot of output. If he doesn't get hit, now he gets hit in his fight a lot, like Vanata and with a lot of strikes. If you let someone like Pettis establish a kicking game or a counter striking game, he's going to start picking you off with shots. But Ferguson's going to keep coming forward, and I just don't know whether Pettis can maybe stop that forward momentum of Tony Ferguson for 15 minutes. So for me, I'm going to pick Tony Ferguson via decision.
It's hard, isn't it? It's a hard one to pick, but yeah,
I think that Anthony Pettis is definitely live.
Like, it is, and it was weird for me picking Pettis because I just kind of was like, why am I going against Tony Ferguson? But there was just something in the footage, watching it, I was like, well, I think Pettis is a better striker than Lando Venata, so I was like, well, if that's what he can do, and then I can see what Pettis has done in the past. You know, hey, look, this fight card has got fights that you and I both sat there, and we're kind of wincing because we're like, it's horrible. It's a horrible fight to pick, but we're picking because we have to. Now we're coming up to the main event, and gosh, they have really got to hope this main event pulls through because they've only got one title fight on, and the last card, it was Woodley versus Till. What was it, 150,000 I think max it's maybe done, and that was a monumental flop. Like, that is huge. Okay, that's a huge flop for the UFC. Bellator were laughing at that probably. But anyway, we've got Khabib, the Eagle, the 155 champ. Okay, undefeated in MMA, not just UFC, MMA, undefeated, against Conor McGregor, the former champ, the former 155 champ, the former 145 champ. What a fight we have, Will. We've done our breakdowns, so we'll say it again. We've done the breakdowns of how each person can break, how each person can defeat the other person, and we've mentioned the pros and the cons. But Will, let's do a shortened down version, and I'll pick, which has not helped by watching footage.
No, I think there's times you can watch fights too much and nitpick at silly little things that you think could be a big kind of beneficial part of the fight. I think I totally believe that I've watched far too much in this one, because you know it's not hard when you look at both guys. What does Conor McGregor bring? He brings an extensive striking game with beautiful counter striking, beautiful range management, and devastating power, big power. And what does Khabib bring? He brings a gritty, wrestling, grappling-based style that can absolutely sap every bit of energy you have. And what is Conor's downfall? Predominantly grappling. I still don't think he's an absolute wash down there, but against someone like Khabib, he could be made to look like an absolute wash down there. We've seen in the past certain instances with Chad Mendes. People need to stop saying, "Oh, but Chad Mendes was a wee guy." That's true enough. He is a small guy, but he still got up off his back against that guy. He took a bit of damage, but still worked down there. Got back to his feet, and once he got back to his feet, he really started to work on Chad Mendes. Again, Mendes was on there on 2 weeks' notice. Conor McGregor had a bad ACL injury going into that fight. Never pulled out, came through. And that's something to say about Conor's mindset, that bulletproof mindset that nothing's going to get him down. He's going to go in there and he's hyped for this fight. If you didn't watch the press conference, go and watch it. He tried everything under the book to try and get it under Khabib's skin, under his team's skin, his family, you name it. He attacked, and we've got another press conference next week.
Thursday, is it, they're doing it?
Yeah, which I think is going to go. It's going to be bonkers again.
That's got the public in that time as well.
And it's going to be absolutely. I'm interested to see. I think I'm hearing a lot of Irish are going out.
No shit. I know someone going.
Yeah. So I've got.
I know a few people going as well.
Yeah. But I think the Irish are going to be out there in their droves yet again.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be an unbelievable spectacle come Saturday night. I just hope for the fight, nothing goes wrong with the weight cut.
For both, I hope both of them are fine. Yeah.
An absolute normal fight week, no shenanigans whatsoever. Let's just get to the fight and have it happen here. It's hard to. I'm struggling with the pick. Everybody knows I'm a Conor fan. I love watching Khabib fight because he's got a skill set which you don't see many people use. It's like in your face, can batter you down and can beat you up. You back and watch the fights there, like Khabib, what he did to Barboza. Now Barboza's more of a kicking guy, so I think he maybe had to do that. I think Dan Hardy, if you haven't seen the inside the octagon, whatever it is, that is crazy. The amount of views that got. But Dan Hardy's obviously, he's looked into it to the nth degree, and everything you sit there and you're like, oh, he's actually spot on with things like that, and it's crazy how much he has looked into that. But there's so many aspects. Can Conor do it early? Can Khabib do it late? Is Conor going to get into his head more before fighting? Because I think he is in a little bit. But I think that Khabib is a stone-cold killer, and it doesn't affect him as much as what people say. If you've got someone talking about your family, it's going to affect you. Yeah, I don't care what anybody says.
And his dad got refused a visa as well. Khabib's dad so that will get brought up probably in the press conference.
Yeah, of course. Well, Conor will use anything he can to get in the head of anything to do with Khabib Nurmagomedov. I'm sure Ali will get some barbs sent his way again. So I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. I've got no confident pick, but I'm going to pick Conor McGregor because I think that he can find the chin of Khabib. If Khabib doesn't start to initiate takedowns quick and get in the face of McGregor quick, I think he's going to eat shots all night long. I think that McGregor's too fast, too powerful. I think that Khabib is very, very he doesn't switch his stances. He's very flat-footed. His chin is in there. His hands go down a little bit. And he's not going. I don't see him being super aggressive in the striking against someone like Conor, because Conor will just pick him apart. I think Conor needs to use kicks here, keep him at distance, and then just unload when he's got the opportunity to fight at distance. I'm going to pick Conor via knockout in the first two. If not, it's going to be a really bad night later on for him.
It's a hell of a fight, and
simple breakdown.
Yeah, it is. And if you're not, if you can be neutral in trying to assess this, you'll appreciate what Will just said, and you'll appreciate that how difficult this fight is to pick. You know, if you're a Conor McGregor fan and that's all you care about and that's all you know, you're going to pick Conor all day long. I swear, Will, if bloody Chargers have not...
Oh, the Chargers just intercepted the ball on their own 2-yard line. The back ran all the way up to the 2-yard line and then got tackled out of bounds. But they're winning.
They're winning. Woohoo!
23-17.
Yes! Come on, Chargers. Anyway, so yeah, look, I'm sacrificing my Chargers game, and Will's sacrificing partially his Cardinals game for youth people, right? So that's what you got to appreciate what we do here. But yeah, mate, this if you can be impartial, you'll appreciate that we have like an ultimate striker and an ultimate grappler. They are superior in their own fields, and it's the classic striker grappler. Every fight starts standing, which is why I sit there and go, yeah, Conor, fight starts standing. You got to get it down. You got to close that distance. You've got to potentially take a hit. Can you take a hit? Can you get it down? And then I sit there and think, well, if I'm Khabib, I literally bull rush. I get my hands up, my chin down, my hands up, just charge and just get that goddamn takedown, get into that clinch just to hold him. So then, if Conor can't punch, then I'm happy. I'm in a safe place. It's a safe bubble. It's hot. It's ridiculous. No, but and like Will said, I've watched too much footage now, and my head is like a mashed potato with this fight. I can't make heads or tails. I'm trying to predict. I'm trying to make a thought. I've had people at work ask me who suddenly have an interest in MMA, as Will know himself. You suddenly get these messages from people asking. I had a friend of mine call me up last night at 12 o'clock at night, by the way, chatting to me for an hour. Who do you think will win between Khabib and Conor? I was half dead, and I was trying to explain. I said, look, it's not that easy. It's insane. I don't care now about picking, so to speak. I just want the fight to happen, because it's a fight that is going to be, no matter how it goes, I can't wait for it. I'm going to pick Khabib only because you've kind of went for Conor, and it's such a pick and fight. It's horrible. So I'm going to go Khabib, because I think both guys can win in their own. I think Conor can absolutely win in the first 2 rounds, but I also think Khabib could absolutely dominate Conor and break him in the 3rd, 4th and 5th round and get either a complete dominant win or just punch him into submission by the 4th round, because we know Conor he's bulletproof until stuff doesn't go his way in the cage, and then or in the boxing ring, and we do see him break. And if Khabib's on top of him for after 1st, 2nd, 3rd round, I think 4th round, Khabib could break him, TKO, just ground and pound and have him out, or he choke him. You know, rear naked chokes there often for Conor. He often gets choked out. So yeah, horrible pick him. And I'm going to go with Khabib, mate. It's horrible.
It's that big fight, man. Like, one of the things I spoke about when we did the big breakdown was, this is a bigger fight as Khabib's probably ever going to have. Yeah. This is just another big fight for Conor, because Conor's had them in abundance. How is Khabib going to react to that? And I think it's just interesting, because he's never been the headline guy on a show. I know there was 223 or whatever, and that kind of went to shit after the whole Conor incident and people falling in off the card and so on. Yeah. So it's a big thing, the mentality that he's coming in here, but it's really interesting. Like, if you're picking this guy, people are attacking you for picking that guy when they should be. It's one of those,
you can't win. You can't win. There's no winner.
There's no point in really going on about it too much.
Yeah. All I'll say, bro, is about Ali. I did an interview a couple of years back with Mike Russell. It's kind of been picked up because Conor McGregor mentioned it. But I'm going to be interviewing Mike Russell again, who elaborate a little bit more on Ali Abdulaziz. If anyone wants to know who it is, and he didn't build an arc. But if you want to know, I'll be interviewing him in the next week or so. So I'll be putting that podcast out there. So I'm sure our podcast Twitter account will be blocked by Ali and everyone he follows, every one of his fighters, because he controls their accounts and tweets from their accounts. So anytime you see any fighter say, Ali Abdul, he's awesome, he's a great guy, it's basically Ali tweeting from their account, just to give you a heads up. It's not them tweeting it, it's just him. But yeah, I'll be putting it out there. Just thought I'd stick it out there, folks. You'll be seeing that next week. So if you want to find out a bit more, get some more questions answered, that'll be out there. Okay.
So I'm just looking at Wikipedia now, and I'm just looking at Conor McGregor. If he wins this fight,
his list is insane of who he's beat.
People have the audacity to say, if he wins this fight, even if he doesn't win this fight, but just say he wins this fight, people have got the audacity to say that Conor McGregor has beaten like nobody's. He was pushed up to the top. So Max Holloway,
Jose Aldo,
Dustin Poirier, Chad Mendes, Jose Aldo. So, like, Max Holloway, the featherweight champion right now, one of the best pound for pound guys. Poirier he could be fighting for the title next, or he could be fighting for this 165 belt, which I think the UFC should bring in personally. Yeah. Then you've got Chad Mendes, perennial top guy at 145. Chad Mendes, Jose Aldo, the best featherweight of all time. Nate Diaz, who is as tough as they come.
Yeah, we'll give him the decision.
Eddie Alvarez, just one of the best kind of lightweights that's been around in all the kind of the eras of the sport. And then you've got Khabib. If he beats the guy who's been undefeated, that's a legit list that this guy's beat.
And add to that, let's go back old school. One of the best lightweights not to have even been thrown down with the best of the best, Ivan Buchinger.
Buchinger's good, a great fighter that people don't know about.
It's like he should be in that UFC mix, and he would have been a contender for sure. He is a great name, and Conor has a win over him, and I think people oversight that a lot because he was in the UFC, and I'm like, you don't understand how good Ivan was. That dude was a bad guy.
Legit, still legit.
Oh, he's still good now. Yeah, he's obviously on the tether end. I think he lost his last fight, I think. But either way, at the time, he was an absolute monster, and Conor got the win then. Like, this is, it doesn't, I was going to say that it's a legacy fight for Conor, but it's really not. His legacy's set. He can do, he's going to have big fight. He wins this fight, he's going to be making as much more money than ever possible. They say he signed an 8-fight deal, and I'm like, dude, if you think Conor's going to fight 8 more times, you're out your mind. They've just basically signed him up so he can't go anywhere else. That's what they've done.
But then he loses this fight. He's got Diaz there.
Diaz is the next fight for him, no matter what. As long as Diaz can win against Poirier, but do not one fight I want to see more than Diaz, Max Holloway at 155 against Conor. Can you imagine how awesome that fight will be?
Yeah, that'd be a fun.
Oh God, that would be fantastic. Holloway is a different person.
He wins this fight here. You obviously get Diaz, depending on what Diaz does with Poirier. I think he'll always fight Diaz no matter what. That's going to happen. Yeah. Poirier, I don't really want to see that fight again because we've seen who the better man is. I don't care if it's at 145 or 155.
I think Conor wins that. I think Holloway and Diaz are the two guys I want to see him fight.
I would like to see him face Ferguson. I'd love to see him face Pettis. I think they're good stylistic fights. But
I don't know how else.
I see Conor winning those fights, but I wouldn't mind seeing those fights. But I don't know we will ever see them. We'll just need to wait and see. But it's going to be a good week leading up to the fight card next Saturday night.
Oh, big time! So let's go to bets now. Well, all right, let's throw some hints there. Let's drop some tips for people. We did mention during some of the fights. We said, like, for example, Nick Lentz. See what the odds are for submission victory. That was one that we mentioned before, but is there any out there that you think maybe straight bets or any parlays? Is there anything on the card that you thought about?
I've got Aspen lad straight at one. I got her a wee while ago at -110. She's up there at like -180 something now, so the prices went. Kunitskaya is one I've got as well, and then I want to bet Conor just because the underdog.
He's an underdog at the moment. He's plus 130, I think it was last time. I think that was yesterday. Yeah,
you're not going to get too many opportunities of betting this guy as an underdog. So that's really tempting. But the best thing is probably to stay away. But I will wait and see what I do there. I like Sean O'Malley via decision. I think that paid out pretty well, 3-1 last time, if I remember right. So that's kind of where I'm looking around. But there's a few prop bets I think that could be quite good for this card regarding like submissions, like you said. If you look into it close, then maybe see a couple of spots. But Aspen lad's one I've definitely got down. Giannis one I've got down. So yeah.
Would a random one be, let's say, Vincent Luque KO, like you said, prop bets? Or...
it's interesting to see like the double chances, like the KO or submission. That's something with actually Sean O'Malley, which might not be a bad bet, is him via knockout or decision, because I very much doubt he's going to win via submission. So if that pays something decent, maybe I'd have a wee stab at that.
Okay, and for example, like you said, you have Waterson and Herrig, maybe plus 1.5 on the rounds and stuff like that.
Maybe, yeah. I think they're usually quite easy to hit, especially in ladies' fights. But I think you got to be careful with betting in this card. There's a few spots you need to be careful. I think there's dog or pass. I think Derrick Lewis, if you're going to be picking as an underdog, if you're going to be picking him as an underdog, he is a betting underdog as well. So you can go and have a look there. Anthony Pettis. The line on him is huge. It's like plus 300. So yeah, there is spots in this card, and it's a really. I'm going to go all out in DraftKings. DraftKings got a big. They've got fight of the year, and it's like $100,000 to first place. And I've been trying for the last 2 weeks. I did well last week regarding winning tickets on DraftKings to get into that, like free. So in on 25-cent tournaments and winning $10 tickets, and I won 7 or 8 last week. Made a big go this week, and I don't think I'm doing too great. I've got a good team, but just others have got better teams. So I'm going to be making a good go at that next week on DraftKings. And I know that some people like Chips, who's forever mentioned us, he was making a big big go at that next week. So he'll be putting a little bit more into his bankroll, I'm sure, than I will. So good luck to him, and hopefully he goes and takes that down.
Yeah, big time, yeah. So that's the podcast this week. After this, there's a little break for 2-3 weeks, which weird. I thought that was literally non-stop until pretty much Christmas, but yeah, but we got a little break. I'll be doing some interviews in the meantime, in between there, folks. So I'll be filling out the podcast with interviews during those 3 weeks. But it means you and I get a little mini break, so to speak. But we'll be back. More breakdowns after this insane week. There's no doubt it's going to be bonkers.
Yeah.
So thank you all so far who have all listened. Thank you for everyone who's subscribed so far and who are going to be subscribing. So look, we're still growing, we're still developing. So thank you all, and have a great, enjoyable fight week for UFC 229.